We've got a special today. We've got a World Cup special, right? And I was thinking we need a rider representative. Dave and I, we're casual.
Couch potatoes. Okay.
Yeah, we're couch potatoes. And I thought we need a rider representative, someone who's experienced in the World Cup racing. We've actually managed, we're looking for someone who's been around the block, who's raced. They know what they're talking about. Really someone who can do some justice to this document, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Greg Minnar was not available. We have Theo Erlangsen. Welcome to the studio.
The only male monster girl.
I was going to say, no, you got to introduce me as a mid-pack World Cup rider. Good job.
Thanks, dude. Thanks for joining us. I think it's worth right from the very start, okay? None of us have looked at this document. It's important that we say this.
Yeah. I've half looked at it.
Okay.
I probably, knowing my career, should have looked at it in depth, but those things, ADHD.
I think it's the best way to do it. I really do.
I agree.
Yeah.
What is it that you say before you say something that makes you not factually incorrect? So
like
don't you say like allegedly before stuff, and then you're just in the clear? If you imagine every pause in this podcast, there's an allegedly thing. Maybe Doug can add them. Maybe not. It's cool. He's looking at me like that. It's cool. But we're trying to go through the facts, trying to make sense of it. Basically,
yes.
We thought we'd bring you along. Obviously, you're a hoot. We're gonna have a good time.
We're gonna have some fun with it.
Yeah,
which is probably what it might need.
Absolutely, I think it does.
Because it's quite dry.
Yeah, it's true. You're someone who's sort of not a stranger to fun. I haven't even done the clicky board thing yet. Yeah, Theo, everyone. Yeah, Theo.
Let's get this started.
Yeah, dude.
Well, I think it's important to also say that actually there's no changes. According to the news, there's no changes to next year's World Cup.
True.
Okay, so this is leaked, right?
Yeah.
Where are we in the year? What date? What time are we in the year right
22nd of September.
Okay. To frame this, when do budgets end for next year, approximately, for sponsorship opportunities?
I'd say most teams have signed and done whatever they need to by at least Ludenville. And then I think officially budgets close about at the end of this month.
Wow.
I think.
Okay, so
it's a lot earlier than
people
might
guys
think.
Probably know. I'm not usually the the sponsor's big budget ticket item. So, but I've learned in years that most of the big riders are signed by mid-year, and you're like, whoa, I usually do my.
It's true, man. There's already racing rumors out there. People moving teams. That those deals are done. And you're right. Even for us with this, you're already doing stuff for next year now.
Yes.
You're getting things signed off, and a lot of brands are like, yeah, we're done. We've already signed everything off. So to think you've got to put together a race team with no information at the moment would be terrifying.
Well, we've got leaked information. But
So
the leaked information, I believe, has gone out to teams. So it's leaked, but it is official. It's finished.
I think they had I'm so going to get in trouble for all of this information. But I think they had team meetings with the few
allegedly.
Team meetings with the few top elite team managers, and then they got asked to sign NDAs so that they didn't say anything and this and that. So it was basically a select team managers of elite UCI teams. They had meetings, and then from that, a whole bunch of stuff got leaked. The World Cup pits is like a coronavirus of information.
Of course, it's going to be, isn't it?
So it could still change, is what you're saying, basically. It could.
Well, there's nothing that's happened yet, Oliver.
Okay,
Nothing officially. But also, I think it was leaked by a team who are not around next year anyway. So they were just a bit fuck it.
Nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose. We're not around anyway.
Oh,
as far as I'm aware. But
I think it was that team.
Yeah. I think it was that team as well.
Allegedly.
Which we won't be saying.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Is that all the disclaimers? Do you reckon we've successfully...
No, we're going to get into way more dangerous detail.
Well, having not read it, I actually don't know how drastic the changes are. You obviously know murmurings from the pit that are from the pit sounds awful. Pits. you know what people are talking about, like the key points, even if you haven't read the document, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think, and I'll say like it is, I kind of agree with the way they are going in like the direction of they're going or the way they're going with things. Like it is right to kind of go that way.
Early to chicken out, dude.
No, we got an apologist.
Yeah,
They are moving. I just said the direction they are moving is correct. But
Which is what? Forwards.
yeah, just like
Trying to make the sport
like they
more elite, more professional.
well, like kind of you shouldn't really need to have 200 elite riders at a World Cup. You know what I mean? Like having 200 elite riders is a bit much because at the end of the day, Amory or Lorik's going to win. So like let's trim down the field a little bit, you know? Like, so I agree with the way they are moving and like slimming down. That basically they want to either narrow it down to either just if you're on an elite team, you can enter. If you top 50 or top 100, I'm not sure yet, then you can enter. If you like a national champion of your country, you can enter a World Cup. And maybe one or two, like if you like win a continental series or the B League series, you can enter the World Cup kind of thing like that. So they're slimming down the way you can enter quite drastically.
So from that, as a comparison, would you say it's like moving towards like Formula One? Idea. So there's like seats almost.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what they're trying to do. Okay. But I also have a fair, like, everyone's saying, oh, we're trying to move towards Formula One. But it's like, dude, we are not even close to Formula One yet.
Dude,
we are even literally mountain bikers. Like, Formula One's like 200 years old. We've like just got a series up and running. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so everyone's like, oh, we're trying to get to Formula One. And you're like, we are like tens of years away from Formula One.
Like, so far from road cycling.
Literally even road cycling.
Through, you know?
So everyone's like, oh, we need Formula One. And you're like, it's so amazing to look at Formula One. And you're like, oh, it looks amazing. That's what they're doing. But like, there's also huge holes in Formula One. Lance Stroll, you know, you know what I mean? Like, so, but the one thing I want to make clear is that like I agree with the way they're doing it, but like to not have announced that you're doing this to a World Cup series that starts next year in September, that's criminal. You can't, be like, oh, no, we're going to make changes and this and that, and it's all happening. You've got 2 months to prepare. I'm like just a privateer with my transit, and already that's like, okay, how do I organize this now? Now, if you like big budget teams trying to be like, okay, how are we going to do this? Like, there's so many moving parts to so many teams like that. You can't like announce. You can't announce 2 months before the end of the year.
So like in sponsorship, you're rolling the dice at the minute because you could potentially put a big load of budget into a team that doesn't make the cut, potentially.
Well,
in theory,
yes. But I think they're kind of kicking out all the B teams.
Okay.
Like basically, I think like 2 years ago, it was like $5,000 to enter your team as an elite team. Then like last year, it was like 10 or 15 or
double,
20.
definitely more than double.
Like it was like around 15, somewhere around there, maybe 20. And then now next year it's like 30, 35 or something like that. So like all of the B teams are like, okay, now like we need to scrap together 35 just for parking space.
What does that mean? Do you know, like, what does it mean to enter a team? What do you get?
That's a good question.
What do you get? So much money.
Pit space and half of an opinion. I think,
sometimes an opinion.
Yeah, sometimes.
There's also an issue there as well, like you say, with teams being able to plan that. There's obviously some sort of preferential treatment going on with these few elite teams, and a disregard for any of these smaller ones that are the backbone of this entire thing.
Yes,
that's awful.
Yes,
brutal.
I mean, I guess in a lot of sports you could say that though.
I don't know. I
guess so, because there's like, if we have to keep on using Formula One as an example, but like there are teams that don't have Formula One teams in Formula 3. So there's like manufacturers that compete in Formula 3 that are pushing the future of Formula 1. You know what I mean? So like it's like the equivalent of an IXS.
Sorry, yeah. So there are teams that might not necessarily be a World Cup team, but they're still, professional, and they're still got professional athletes and stuff like that.
Yeah, and like where are they pushing their athletes? Like if you win a series, which is your aim, you then what you get? What's the word to where you go up a league, not relegated?
No, the other one.
The other one.
Opposite of relegated.
Smelligated. You go up to the next one. You go up to the next one. So they're like working towards a win, and then where do they go? Or do you know what I mean? You're
Yeah,
like
yeah,
developing talent that's like going to go away to a different league, essentially.
And I guess that as well is another talking point then, is that if some of these changes do happen, then those teams are forced into other races, IXS Cup, those sort of things, but there's not really much information about those either. So there's just this lack of any information.
Literally. So I think that's also one thing this is also from the rumor, but like, that's one thing that's, I think, holding back them announcing this new changes and stuff like that, is they haven't really figured out a good B League yet. They wanted like the IXS to host it, or the people that run the European Cup or the European Champs. But I don't think they've like set up completely and like organized the feeder series that they want to promote and whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't think they've like set that up and organized that fully. So I don't think they can announce that yet. But
Dude, let's get out of the rumor mill.
Yeah.
Let's get some race tape up and let's drop in to the document.
Wow. Okay. That was really great.
I think we got to do it, because otherwise we just end up just talking about like this and that and this. Yes. Whereas they've actually outlined it in this document by the looks of things.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
okay.
to audio
All right.
listeners, there's going to be sort of pauses.
Yeah, there is.
Us three morons try and read what's been released.
So there's the first one. If we
Leaked.
use the what?
Allegedly.
Okay, the first one allegedly. Or the first point then. All right.
Okay.
Let's just go through a few that stand out to us and people that seem to be talking about this online. So the first one on the Pink Bike article, which is really good if anyone wants to read it, it's called Racing Rumours, Everything We Know About the Potential Changes to the Downhill World Cup to 2025. The first thing they spoke about is that semi-finals might be gone, and a two-stage last chance qualifier system could be its replacement. No, totally. You think that's good? This is something that Needle spoke about a while ago as well.
There's two good things about that. Like, I think they're going to take away protected riders, which is quite epic. Obviously, I've never had the privilege of being protected, but I think it is quite cool, because, like, let's say Amory or Bruni can just get like they can go buck wild in quali and then know full well that they sorted for the final. Semi-finals has been pointless for 2 years now. Like, it's literally a pointless race.
Yeah.
I don't think they even broadcasted it this year, which was kind of crazy. But that's quite cool, because I think at the end of the day, it is going to be one of those, few people at the end of the day who's going to win the final. So like, you don't need a top 60 final or whatever, something like that. So that would be quite sick, having like, I think it's top 20 out of qualifying go straight to final. And then there's a 10 place last chance qualifier, which is quite moto, quite sick.
So the opportunity for someone who's maybe like just goes really well on that track, or can put together a crazy fast run, but they lack consistency. There's still it's almost like the wild card option. You're still going to get like an array of different riders, not just the same old.
Okay. So that's quite cool. Like, and then from there, having like, imagine if like Amory or Wilkins like last chance qualifier because he like washed his front wheel, then that's a cool story. Sweating in the start gate.
I like the LCQ thing.
That'll be cool.
Just to clarify, so the new qualifying for Downhill World Cups will feature Q1, where the top 20 men and 10 women will go straight to finals. The Q2 session will offer a last chance for the remaining riders to make it to finals. In the second qualifying session, the top 10 men and 5 women will progress to finals. So like you said, 30 men, 5 women. It will be interesting to see how this plays out, as more runs can be a disadvantage. Anyway. So we're going to say that is a positive change.
Yeah, we've got a positive.
We've got a thumbs up.
Not bad. Out the gate, that's nice.
We got a thumbs
fairly
up.
Similar to the old regulations.
Basically it's turning back the clock.
Not bad.
I'm a massive fan of that. Hopefully they broadcast it. Hopefully there's stories and actual, like, the broadcast package is telling you what's going on.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's still pointless.
Do you know what I think it's really, really hard not to do? And it's just jump on board with the general feeling. And it's good to actually try and be objective. That's what I quite like going through this and actually breaking it down, because it gives you a chance to be like, okay, that's not too bad. I can't like actually hate on that. I can't hate on that.
No. I think that's sick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do another positive one that I saw and liked then.
Okay.
Which we'll just jump away from the Pink Bike article, is choosing a number. I think that's sick. Massive fan of choosing a number. Yeah. There's loads of potential off the back of that with merch and...
Very cool, yeah.
Cool.
I think you have to win a World Cup to be allowed to choose a number, which is also quite gangster. So
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it's a club. That's
Yeah,
very
yeah.
cool.
So then if you've won a World Cup, you can say, okay, I want that number or something like that. I don't know how it'll work with like, maybe it'll just go to like total World Cup wins and then somebody can be like, I want that number.
Please
or
win
something
one
like
so you can get
Yeah.
69 for life. Dude.
Actually, be pretty gangster if one of the riders wins.
You won a World Cup and you picked 69. Theo, what you
Yeah, that's good. I'm a massive fan of that. I think, yeah, big fan of that. It's huge. And they get to choose the colours of the plates, which I don't understand. Don't understand that part of it, but that's
No,
something
that's
that's
interesting. Hey, do you know
Yeah.
what? Before we jump to the next point of change, I know I appreciate we're jumping already out of the race tape, but like, I think at the start of this document, they've got their why they're doing the changes and what they're aiming for.
Ooh,
So it's
nice.
quite good to be able to like relate back to like what they're actually talking about, because if you don't set the
Yes.
true.
you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
what they've said is they're trying to create value in our sport. They're trying to elevate the UCI World Cup. Create a pathway. So that's build a strong sporting pathway for riders and teams from national to continental to UCI World Cup. So, yep, makes sense. So that implies that they're actually trying to, build the
Infrastructure
route
almost
to
behind
the
it.
route
Yes.
to World Cup. So they're not thinking about it. In theory, multi-year commitments to teams, so support long-term planning, budgeting, long-term. Okay.
They failed at that one at the moment.
Team focus, so greater exposure for brands, increased value of teams.
Aren't you on that one? No.
Team focus. That's good to know.
Thank you.
Might have a chance to get me between the tapes. Clear rules, build rider identities. So that goes with what you've just said about the numbers, building rider identities. Very cool. Theo 69, like it. So what they've said in parentheses there is build heroes and increase fan engagement, which is what they do in Formula One pretty well, I would say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because there's fewer, quite simply, but like also.
Do they do it well in road cycling?
No, road cycling. I mean, if you're a domestique, you can have like 5,000 followers and you're.
Right.
Yes.
You know what I
I was
mean?
about to
So
say,
it's
I think
like-
I know 2 road cyclists.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So I wouldn't say that they do really, but maybe
No.
they do.
No.
I don't know. I think Formula One they really do, because even the back of the grid they'll have little like driver focuses and
Yes.
they talk about the teams, even though they're like literally sucking their last place every single race, and they celebrate small victories.
Yes.
Which I think is quite cool actually.
Yeah.
Like, oh my
I don't know
god.
if I'd savage in Formula One where they're like, oh, Haas is such a crap team or whatever. And then they're like 0.8 off like the quality. It's like, it's not as if they built like a cardboard box at the back of the grid. Like they're like 1,000th off the like
it's-
quality time, whatever. And they're like rubbish. It's so harsh.
true. Yeah.
So harsh on teams.
It's not like the car is slow and people are like, the car is slow. And last but by no means least, promotion to provide more opportunities for marketing, media, and fan engagement. It's kind of links with the last one. But
Yeah.
sorry to put a brakes on the.
No.
To be
mate.
fair,
on the
that
list.
is quite a bit of marketing. You know what
This
I mean?
is
like,
spiel.
Yeah,
This
that's
is,
spiel. That's like, oh, we're gonna do this. Like,
call
of
it
course you are, guys.
These
Like-
documents largely are poo sandwiches. Aren't they? So to frame that means you start on a good, you dump a load of stuff that no one wants to hear, and then you end on a good, and then it leaves a nice taste in your mouth.
It's very
Not
true.
of poo.
Okay, so the second point that they covered here was, I think you just touched on it, Theo. There could be no protected riders in finals.
Yeah.
Good.
I reckon that's pretty. It makes things interesting. It makes everyone at the top of the start gate and quality think like, "Phew, okay, better not wash the front, better not do anything silly. Like,
No
everyone,
punctures.
yeah, no punctures. Like, because it is like it's such a, what's the word? Like, wild sport. Like, so many things can happen. You know what I mean? It is,
Yeah.
it like anything can happen on any run. You hit one rock, like, it's so variable in the outcomes. You know what I mean? So I think that'll make it a lot more interesting. Even like post quali, everyone like, oh, Loic's out of quali. Oh shit! Like he needs to LCQ in. Like,
Builds a story
Yeah.
with LCQ, doesn't it? Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I agree with that totally. I think in the past it's been quite confusing as a viewer
yes.
to be like, oh, he crashed in his quali and like, how's he in finals? I don't
Yes,
understand
yes,
all this
yes.
stuff, but it came down
Semis really lost me, and I was so keen for it. I was
Yeah.
so keen for more racing, and semis
Semis is the worst.
I just lost the path of the race. The story was too difficult to
How
follow.
were you approaching semis?
Oh, I hated it.
But like, would you approach it? It's just a race run, so it's
Yeah, dude. Like, I mean, there's no start gate at the World Cup that I'm not absolutely giving it all through. You know, I'm like, oh, I'll leave a little bit in.
Maybe that's where you've been going wrong, dude. You've been leaving a bit
I've
at
tried
the
that
bottom of the
approach, then
monster
halfway
can.
down the track, I'm like, but it was so last year it was quali, end of day. You could go do track walk and then find some lines, 2 more practices, and then semi-final. And I thought that was, I mean, I kind of enjoyed that because you could do quali, be like, okay, sweet, I'm in for tomorrow. Walk the track, change your lines. By then the track is absolutely murdered. You have to change all your lines. And then you get like a practice run or 2 to get quicker or whatever. Whereas this year they did quali and semi on one day. And I thought that was so hard because you basically got 2 runs in the morning to practice. And like at that point, you're still getting up to speed.
Yeah.
And then absolutely give it all for your quali run, like gassed by the bottom.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, back up the hill. You have no chance to like look at your lines again, change your lines, like do anything, unless you've got like track guys on track giving you photos or whatever. And then you can hit that line, you know, first time in your semi or whatever.
Yeah.
But like every time I made quali and then I went to semi, I would just get like the lines and the track was just obliterated and then I'd get smoked out of semi. So like I found it quite hard to do quali and semi in one day.
Yeah.
Disclaimer, I am a mid-pack unfit rider, so maybe Ronan...
It's still relative because...
Yeah.
Allegedly.
No, I hated doing quali and semi in one day because there's like almost nothing you can do. Like in quali, you're doing the best run you can. You know what I mean? It's not as though the level at the moment, nobody's holding anything back kind of thing.
I can imagine as well having semis on finals days. It's finals days, regardless of whether you do semis. So you are on final. You are on for finals day.
Yes.
It's like it doesn't matter if you don't even make it to finals. You're on the day of the race.
Yes,
I'm not sure it says in that doc when they're running them. I haven't seen it.
I think there might be a timetable down there somewhere,
Is
but
there?
I haven't
Okay.
looked.
Have a quick look. Let's have a little sec. Sorry. Let's just see if we can see it.
Yeah. So what would you?
Okay, I found it.
Let's say you've got to do 3 runs. What would be your ideal? It would be the same format, 2 on the finals day.
Wait, but they're taking away semi now.
Yeah, but like if you have to LCQ, where would you put LCQ, for instance?
Yeah, I think they'll do practice, quali, LCQ, next day race, I think. Pretty
So it looks like we're going to go Thursday. Oh, ignore Thursday, it doesn't matter. Friday, Enduro World Cup, UCI Enduro World Cup, downhill training, timed, fan activations later in the day. Saturday, elite qualifying 1, and elite qualifying 2, and then Sunday is just finals. So that's a positive.
Yeah. I think that, and also, like, once you've done a sick quali, like, most riders after a quali, like, you don't actually want to go up and do another run and practice. Like, you actually just want to go walk the track, relax, and have a nice meal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so you're in the night show after qualies, you don't have to
So
do
I think
anything.
that's also why they want to trim down the number of riders, because let's say if you have a 200 entry list, and then you do qualifying and 20 get taken to final, then they've got to rerun 180 for the LCQ. Like that, it's a little bit unfeasible.
Fair. Okay. Next
it's
thing.
making sense.
I am hating that I'm giving more credit than
We'll turn the
at the end
tables.
of this. I'm going to unleash my X for the thing. We'll go through it nicely and politely for the minute.
This is the one that I don't think makes personally any difference, but 3 rider podiums from 5.
Yeah,
What do you think?
kind of lame.
Yeah.
Dude, like the times of the top 5 or whatever is so close and stuff like that. I know my one boss is always like, Sean Arndale, he's always like, oh, why do they do a 5-man podium? But like, for me, I have a 10-man podium. Get everyone up there and celebrate them all.
School photo.
But like, 3-man podium is quite ruthless because, I mean, it's a sport that's separated sometimes for like, 1/10 or whatever. And you're like, wow, dude.
Yeah.
Like.
Okay. Yeah, I
And-
can't think of another sport that does 5 though.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I think they're trying to do the like, why are you doing a 5-man podium kind of thing?
Yeah.
But like, shit, dude, to be top 5 in the world at a World Cup is hectic. Like, get the boys up there,
Yeah.
But it's also, top 5 is like great value for sponsors and stuff like that. If somebody could be like, oh my God, like, Dylan Maples came 5th on the podium, boom, you know what I mean? Might get stuck in a rut of just Amory, Loris, Ronan. I mean, Amory, actually maybe Ronan, Amory, Loris, like Loic, Amory, Loris, Loic, just a different order. So at least let's get 4 and 5. We can get Ronan and Rasheen in there.
All right. Okay. Next thing unless you got anything else, let's hop into a reduction of teams. So there may be a reduction to 20 World Series teams. I had a friend of mine who has a team who had a statement. Would you like me to read it?
I'd love you to read it.
All right.
After this ad break. Oh, finally, we get to my favourite ad. I think it is probably my favourite because it's the easiest one.
Yeah, this one's easy, dude. If you've not got one of these and you're a mountain biker, then what are you?
What are you, dude?
Yeah.
You're probably not cleaning your bike.
No,
You're certainly not. I didn't clean my bike before I got one.
I'm also quite guilty of it.
I mean, I didn't even have an outside tap before I got a
you
WORX
not?
Hydra Shot. That's right. We're talking about the WORX Hydra Shot.
Yes.
I use it every single ride.
Yep. Same, mate. I'm with you almost every single ride. I'm going to say almost because that's the sort of guy I am. But I do try, and I still keep my bikes in the house. So I do have to make sure she's clean because she comes in the house, you know?
Yeah, there you go. But it is so easy because you've got the power share system. Yep. Obviously, that's the battery that comes out of, personally, my leaf blower, my impact driver, my chainsaw.
Okay.
I can carry on. Should
I
I carry
can
on?
carry on too.
Please,
we're doing house renovations at the moment,
Yep.
as you know, and I've got a few WORX tools in there. So I've been using a grinder, strimmer, done the garden recently.
Nice.
Impact driver.
Impact
got one of
driver's
those.
lovely, yeah.
The tire inflator.
Oh, I need to get one of them,
That's
man.
really
sick.
Hoover.
The Hoover's brilliant.
And all of it works off one battery.
It does.
It's a dream.
How good is that?
Yeah,
right.
really
So
clever.
there's the difference between when I first cleaned my bike with a Hydra Shot. We're on to the 56 bar version, aren't we?
Yeah, we are, mate. They've added some extra power.
I've
But
got
it's
to
not
say,
too much power.
No,
Which is nice.
it's absolutely perfect. This sounds like just something that you say in the adverts, and I bear in mind this is the adverts, but it is absolutely the perfect amount of pressure for a bike.
Totally.
Don't blow out your bearings.
Not going to blow out your bearings, exactly.
Right, shall I read some information about it?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so unlike conventional pressure washers with bulky body unit, mains connection, and garden hose attached to the tap, the new WORX Nitro high flow Hydra Shot. So that's the difference. It's the WORX Nitro high flow Hydra Shot. Runs on batteries. It draws water from any source. So you can do it from a river in Wales when you're after the bike park. You can do it from wherever.
Yep.
You can do it. Bucket, pools,
Bottle,
lakes, even seawater.
bath.
It's ideal for cleaning around the house and patio.
Yep.
I mean, we're talking about bikes. I did just auto cue that and just read what it said.
But it's, again, it doesn't have to be used for your bikes.
You're
That's
right.
the cool thing. We use it around the house and outside
absolutely.
the house, you know?
And I do regularly.
Yes.
Equipped with WORX built brushless motor 2.0, this high pressure washer delivers excellent performance on powerful cleaning with a 220 litres an hour flow rate. That's a lot.
She's flowing.
She's flowing. Designed compact and portable at only 1.5 kilograms. You can take anywhere you need. It's got a 5-in-1 nozzle, actually also very useful.
Yes. Sometimes you want it on the pinpoint.
Exactly.
Clean the patio or something like that. Sometimes you want it a little bit wider. Maybe you're watering the flower beds or something like that.
Absolutely. This goes through all the other applications.
But we know them, dude. We can move on. We know them. And if you don't know them, head to uk.worx.com.
Yeah.
And if you enter the code The Ride Companion,
is that
you're gonna
caps?
It is caps.
It's all caps, just the Ride Companion.
Yeah, just The Ride Companion. That's going to knock you 10% off.
Amazing. That's just on uk.worx.com.
Let's do 15% off.
Are you that powerful?
Yeah, we'll speak to him.
You're a podcast
Yeah, well, let's
master.
just do it for 2 weeks. 15% off.
2 weeks, 15% off.
2 weeks, 15% off.
uk.worx.com with the code The Ride Companion, all capitals.
And it's across the whole range, except the robot lawnmower. But everything else. So you could build out your garage a little bit, man. Get yourself a Hydra Shot, get yourself a drill, grinder, strimmer, all kinds of things.
Sometimes when I feel lost in life, I actually just go on the WORX website because I can't believe they've got that many products.
So many.
If I'm struggling for jobs to do, I'll go on the WORX website and it will actually lead me to the light. I'll find a job to do. They've got so many tools. It's insane.
Tool for everything.
Get yourself to uk.worx.com with the code The Ride Companion for 15% off for 2 weeks. I can't believe Davey's doing this, but he's doing it. He's pulling the trigger.
Yep.
Not literally, because we don't want to get the studio wet. Thanks, WORX.
Thanks, WORX. And we're back in. Fantastic ad break. I feel all the better for it. All right, so
Davey, where were we?
My homie said this. I totally get why they want to reduce the amount of riders and improve the show. It's 100% the right thing to be doing. But why are they destroying 60% of the teams instead of just making it harder for individuals to qualify for World Cups? There's a lot of teams that won't make the 15+5 cut that deserve to be there. For example, X team can't retain its best riders, so their points leave them. So their points leave with them, which puts us out of the top 15 ranking, even though we finish top 15 to 20 every season. Enduro teams being included in the top 20 world gravity teams is bollocks. People like Yeti and co get a guaranteed spot over others. Okay.
There you go. So that's real journalism you've done there. That's an anonymous source within the World Cup.
The Stig.
Wow, the Stig's coming in hot with some dropping facts.
There's literally lots to unpack there. I don't know where to start though, but there's lots to unpack there.
Yeah, please.
They've essentially, they're limiting the number of teams that can enter, which means, and this is kind of in a pity party way, but if you walked around the teams at Andorra and Ludenville, everyone's just walking around to each other like, what are you doing next year? What are you doing next year? Like people are flat out of jobs. It's not as though it's like this. It's like half of the teams are just like, well, we can't get together that amount of budget and this and that. And so it's all gone. You know what I mean? 60% of the World Cup teams are losing their jobs, which is kind of savage. Obviously, you have to be a little bit savage in some instances and stuff like that, but I don't think you really need to. Even I was chatting to Jordi Simo, who manages the Commensal Schwalbe team. And they've got Dooley and Pau Manoy. And they came 11th and 12th at Worlds in Andorra, or 12th and 13th. Super good results. And their team is, I think, this is why, when I was talking to him, he was like, I don't know what's going to happen next year. We out of it. Because obviously, it's now entries is 30 grand or whatever to be a team. You've got to be within that top team ranking. And there's going to be, I think, a few more races next year. Which if you that guy, you've got to go to your sponsors and be like, right, I need now double the budget or whatever. Yeah. And this guy that just did an insane season, he wants more money now as well. And so a big point I want to make is it's quite not the best time to be making expensive changes to the World Cup season, because the mountain bike industry is doing a savage market correction after COVID. If you talk to any bike brand, they're not we got loads of money kicking around. There's such a, everyone's got too much stock and this and that. After COVID, everything is really shaken up. And then now, a lot of big brands don't have a lot of money to go splashing around World Cups and stuff like that. So
no.
To do these changes now is, I think, just a little bit premature in terms of you need to go to the, I don't know, Canyon or this or Commensal and be like, I need more budget, more this, more that. They're like, dude, we've got the lowest margins we've had for the last 2 years. We're trying to stock. Literally so much stock. We're trying to trim down, you know what I mean? So that's one thing where I'm like, it's not the best time to be not the best time to be making expensive changes.
You said as well before, other sports, for example, if they're going to make big changes like this, totally change the sport, you put a plan in for multiple years.
Yes.
Our source also said that apparently they came to the teams with an 8-year plan, which no one's ever seen. So again,
I haven't even heard of an 8-year plan.
But apparently that's what they were saying. There's an 8-year plan for the development of the sport, and this just seems a bit like draw a line.
Yes.
We're making massive changes.
So
when the industry can't probably support it.
No, I think now's not the good time for the industry for expensive teams. No. Not the good time. I was waiting for a whatever. It's quite ruthless for me, a rider like me, let's say Adam Brayton and I, or let's put us in the same kind of bracket, not on a team, fairly good, can do some decent World Cup results every now and again kind of thing. For me to make the changes for next year is ruthless, because for now you've only needed 40 UCI points or whatever to enter a World Cup. So I've got 40 UCI points. Doesn't really matter. I'm in A practice. It's not a concern of mine to go chase UCI points. I have sufficient to race World Cups.
Yeah.
Whereas now, then they're like, okay, next year you need to be top 50 or in an elite team to race a World Cup. It's September. How do I go UCI point hunting now? You know what I mean? I've for Brayton and for 2 years now, kind of in them. Well, yeah. You didn't get any points between 30th and 60th. So if you qualified but didn't make final, you didn't get any UCI points.
Yeah.
Which is quite weird. you should get at
Yeah,
least
of
a few
course.
UCI points from
Yeah.
30th to 60th.
Yeah.
And so for like Brayton and I, who don't race, IXS Cups and French Cups
Can't
and
do
this and that,
everything,
like,
can you? Yeah.
I'm already trying to do everything between free ride and hardline and World Cup and everything. So like this year, it was obviously not a focus of mine to go chase UCI points. And then in September, they're like, no, you need to be top 50 in the world to race next year. And I'm like, well, give me a year. Give me next year, then I'll go do IXS Cups, European Cups, German Cups. You can plan it. And then you can go get enough UCI points to race. But like to in September be like top 50 or a UCI elite team, boom, go. And like,
What is the vibe like if you speak to some of your sponsors now? Are they like becoming half out of all of this bullshit? Of like, you know what, actually, Theo, just don't bother, dude. It's not benefiting us. It's probably not benefiting you in a way.
Yeah.
Like
literally, when I did my contract, I think this is what you're asking. I did my contract negotiation with the Commensal, and he was like, "Look, we love having you at the World Cups, but like, Amory's got it, you know. like we love having you here. There's sometimes some nice things, but like, we don't look to use your value being at the World Cups. You know what I mean? So like, but even like our race support Commensal kind of like gypsy Commensal race support team, that's folding for next year because they're like." Basically, Commensal, I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this, but like a lot of their teams are folding because they obviously did have like 5 teams, which is kind of crazy.
yeah,
but
it's
like
wild.
they're folding a whole bunch of teams, so they give more budget to the muck-off team because that's going to be more expensive and that requires more money. So they're like folding half of those teams to add budget to that.
Which makes sense.
Which makes sense in a way.
You can't have endless money.
Especially not at this time.
It's true though, isn't it?
Also, you're talking about yourself and Brayton, who, you offer massive value to brands outside of it, but people you're racing against don't necessarily do that. Not at any fault of their own. They're trying to race World Cups.
Yes,
and
yes.
I understand you are as well, but you're like, you've got all this other stuff going on. Same for Brayton. You're like personalities. Everyone knows who you are. So, yeah, it sucks for you, but like all of the field around you as well, like.
So that's why everyone was like talking to me like, what are you doing next year? What are you doing next year? And I was like, luckily I've kind of diversified myself enough that World Cup racing's not like my only pillar. I do like hardline at Arkfest and backyard battle and this and like, so do like enough events and enough variations that it's not as though if you take away World Cup sponsors are like, well, cheers, pal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for almost like, I don't know, so many riders, it's like, okay, now you are out on the street. Like there's so many riders who are really good on, let's call them B teams, who are just like, well, like, I mean, like top 20, 30 at a World Cup is ruthlessly hard.
Yeah.
And they are just like out of a job next year. You know what I mean? Like half of the pits is gone. Yeah. And I also don't think that's a great idea because downhill is one of the few sports where that variable can result in something so amazing. Like it's like not a sport cooker where Max Verstappen wins every single race and it's quite boring. It's like could be somebody's home track. They could be like weather. Really good where they're like and somebody who you've not really heard of puts down a smoke show and they're like top 20 or whatever. Now that person will never really be able to enter. You know what I mean? Like, so it takes away that like kind of cool story of wildcard riders having incredible runs and things like that.
For me personally, used to watch it for that. I like the top 60 finals.
Yes.
In a way, because it's like all these people are getting TV time, which is obviously great for their career, but someone could have had a bad quali and then they're coming down, I don't know, 40th, and and they end up in the hot seat for ages. That's actually sick.
Jeans guy.
Jeans guy.
Jeans guy. Yeah.
Danny Hart at World Champs.
Yeah.
I know it's a little different, but Danny at World Champs was like in the hot seat for ages.
Yes.
That sort of stuff, I think personally, as a viewer and as a fan, was cool.
Yes.
I liked it. I don't want to just see 30.
Yes.
I don't know. I liked it a bit more of it, to be honest. But
no, me too. I also preferred it when qualifying is a bit easier to get into.
So let's just go through what it means then, because I think this is quite important. So what it means to be a top 20 team. Like, what does that actually mean?
I don't actually know this, so
okay.
I'm all ears.
All right, so I'll just go with this article because it's really good.
Shout out to Pink Bike.
Big shout out. The WBD World Series teams, I guess that means Warner Brothers Discovery, will be limited to just 20 for gravity racing, with 15 of these decided based on the year's World Cup team standings at the end of the season. I guess that means this season. The remaining 5 teams will be picked based on a wildcard scoring matrix. More details below. Okay, so 8 UCI mountain bike teams will be offered per event invites to World Cups. So that means that you could just get offered, I don't know, Leger, right? We've got 8, and they reach out to these teams who say, do you want to come? Which is crazy to think how on earth you'd budget that.
Yeah, I'm also interested
Figure
to
out
figure out how
travel,
that
like
works.
find all, yeah.
So are those teams top 8? Is that what we're talking? Sorry.
No, they're just random.
They're random. Okay,
yeah,
got
yeah.
you.
They're
Yeah.
not in the top 15.
Yeah.
Okay. So 8 UCI mountain bike teams may be offered per event invites to World Cups, but with these invites not guaranteed more than a month before a race, it may be hard for these teams to secure similar funding to what they can gather this year with a guaranteed spot at World Cups. All right. So
Wait, did they mention that? Like they say, it might be hard for the teams to find budget.
yes.
That's Pink, that's Pink Bike, though. That's not
that's Pink Bike. Sorry.
That was the
Yeah,
flight
sorry.
deck. I was like, yes, it will be.
So our Stig had an insight on this, okay? So, and there's a interesting thing in this. So 8 non-wildcard, this is from him. So 8 times non-team wildcard entries per round. Imagine trying to run a team, get sponsors, sign staff and riders, and all you can promise is, oh, we might get an entry, and we know if we can race 6 weeks before, which isn't 6 weeks, it's actually a month before each race. Also, social media following influences it, which is mental. So one of the criteria for them selecting these 8 teams is based on social media followings.
Whoa, that's like Black Mirror.
That's weird, that, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a bit sad.
I'm not a fan of that.
No.
So you have like a viral video. Hey, Theo, those monster girls you're hanging out with. You want to come to the next World Cup? It's
Kind of cool,
actually
though.
might be my entry to a team, dude.
Yeah,
Bring some
Dan Bilzerian of mountain biking.
all right, I don't mind that one. The social media point, yeah.
that he's so right. Like, how the hell do you go to your team, your whatever brands the previous year? Be like, could I please have some money? We have 6 riders that might race. You may as well not have a team. You've got to guarantee the races. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Already now, you're going to those sponsors and saying, we're going to do the races. Maybe we can have a good result. You can't be like, oh, maybe we can have a...
Maybe we'll even be there.
Yeah, maybe we'll even be there. That's insane.
Okay. So...
Okay, so to do the opposite and trying to find a positive, let's say you're already one of the top 5. You know, I'm trying to think of the route to this.
Yeah.
So maybe if you're one of the top 5 teams, or you've got like top 5 contenders every IXS round, European Cup, whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe then you build your budget around that, and then you have like these like, look, we might do Andorra as well. So it might be a common style team, and then they go, okay, we're going to try and race Andorra. There's 8 places. We've got a podium rider at European rounds.
We're posted on socials.
I'm trying to think. I'm honestly trying to like almost reverse engineer like what they're thinking.
Yeah, it's hard to think, isn't
Also,
it?
the social media thing is absolute rubbish because you can just sponsor the pants off of posts and get followers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's sort of like, you can...
Makes no sense.
Yeah, you can...
Yeah, that is weird why they've put that in there, isn't it? Like about social media.
You can
following.
literally sponsor posts and like do weird stuff.
That'd be
Change
cool.
the aspect ratio.
Dude.
make it like...
Might get Snoop Dogg racing World Cup. That's quite sick, yeah.
Just like hook to a video.
Yeah.
It's like just jumping on trends, just trying to
Teams
get
would just
an
be
entry.
making memes and things flat out.
Just all the IXS teams are just insane social media profiles. Viral videos, TikTok dances.
All right, so just to go back to the article, just so we can carry on. Yeah,
This is good, David. You're a journalist, dude, right now.
I don't think so.
No,
okay, so unlike the current team system, the internal document from Warner Brothers Discovery proposes team limits for the World Series team with a minimum of 3 riders and a maximum of 10. Of these riders, a World Series team can only enter a maximum of 4 riders per category per race. So, as far as I understand that, these teams can build out a roster of 10 riders, but they can only enter 4 of them for downhill and enduro. So it's a combined thing. So they're expecting teams to have a combined downhill and enduro.
They want all the teams to have combined teams, like enduro and downhill in one thing. Some teams it kind of works, like Pivot have kind of already got enduro downhill, but then like, let's say Commonwealth, they'll have to, I don't know if, I think Commonwealth's enduro team might die at the end of this year actually.
Syndicate?
Just because of that. Syndicate, like,
No enduro?
yeah, no,
So
so you have to like combine things and stuff like that. I think it's also important to mention how many cool teams are B teams. You know what I mean? Like,
Mate, some of the coolest
like
ones.
some of the sickest teams are B teams. Danny Hart's
the
GT
stories.
this year.
Yeah.
A B
Yeah.
team. Or he's a B team with that
Norco
GT.
is a B team.
Yeah, Norco is a B team, and they've got an A
Greatest of all
budget. But like, I mean, Danny Hart, where did he come? Fourth at Worlds this year. His team can't enter the World Cup. You know what I mean? So like, there's so many B teams that have had Lockie is on a B team,
the
the
Union,
Union.
B team.
They can't enter.
I could go. Aaron Gwynn has a team, which
Yeah.
is a B team.
Aaron
insane.
Gwynn did incredibly well at Ludenville as well. Like, all of those standout rides and like
The stories.
the
shit people
stories
get invested in.
Then and it's also
Frameworks. Another one.
frameworks. Yeah. Dude, that's B team as hell. And sorry, Nico Valley, that wasn't
It's so
the tone
true,
of
though.
that. That is so B team, and they've had such A results.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah, yeah.
What's it? Asses put up the most gangster post the other day, wearing world's leaders world's jersey, overall leaders jersey, American national champs jersey. Which jersey should I pick today? Kind of
Sick.
thing.
Dude, who doesn't
Like-
want to root for the underdog as well? It's not like Loic
Exactly.
comes down and you're like, go on, Loic. and like, I think Loic's sick and I want Loic
Yes,
to win, but it's not.
yes.
It's hard to get behind like the
Yes.
top three every week.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%.
You want people to do good, don't you? And when you see
Always-
someone sat on a hot seat, you're like, oh my goodness, is he going to hold on to it?
Yes.
This is what is exciting about the sport.
Yes.
Unfortunately, like.
That, and it's everyone wants to make it Formula One, but it's not Formula One. We're racing on a bloody dirt track where there's so many
Yeah.
things different.
Where no one can
Corners
watch it.
Disappear.
Corners disappear and huge crashes happen
Yeah.
and crazy results, of that, if you know what I mean.
And no one can watch it.
One of the points.
So what are we playing at?
Does it go on to that in here?
don't
Like
know.
any?
I've
No,
not
okay,
seen
well,
that.
we'll see.
One of the points, so basically, a lot of the information I got is actually at Ludenville. I was walking down the track, a track walk, quite late in the day, and Rurid Cunningham?
Yeah.
Rurid, I don't know how you say his
think
name.
you say
correctly. Rory. It's a Scottish name or something.
Yeah.
He was walking up the track, and I was like, right then, pal, let's have a chat. And he was like, what are you talking about? I was like, what about all these changes? And he was like, what changes? And I was like, no, let's not play silly here, my man. And then I spoke to him for ages. I was like, how can you, basically my first thing was like, how can you announce these changes now? That was still a month ago, and I thought they were going to announce them at that World Cup. They still haven't announced them. I was like, you can't announce that stuff now. And then one of the big points he made was like, we've got too many riders for the tracks to handle and too many riders for the venues to handle. So he was like, we want to go to certain venues that can't handle that many tracks and stuff. And I was like, A, that's never stopped you, because you've got at this Ludenville one gondola and an entire World Enduro and an entire downhill practice going on in a huge line. We do like the lift at Leger takes like 45 minutes per lap. Like it's incredibly long. Like that's never really stopped them. But he was like, no, the tracks can't handle that many riders. And I wanted to be like, dude, we are in a sport where we can make incredible tracks.
Wait, aren't we
It's
riding
not-
at bike parks?
Literally. But also, like, I understand if you're building a velodrome or a MotoGP track or a Formula One track that costs like a couple €100 million. Our downhill tracks, the sickest downhill tracks, can be made with like 5 stoners and some rakes and, and some candy tape. Like, let's not race the same track over and over and over and over again. Like, you need a rake and some candy tape, and you can make the sickest track. Like, we are in such a lucky sport in that sense to make these variable tracks. And we got to Ludenville this year, and like the track was pretty much inch same as last year, and you've got a huge hill all over the mountain. They built up some berms a little bit bigger, and you're like, let's make it different. Like you can see the ride lines still packed in, and like, you know what I mean. And also, on that note, I was there the week before. They had just started getting the track ready for Ludenville, and I was like, they were literally doing the bottom few jumps on the Monday before the race, or like the previous week, and I was like, are you guys gonna like do the track? And they were like, yeah, we got lots of work to do. I was like, yeah, dude, you do. There was one guy in a 3-ton digger and one guy in a spade, and and they were doing the track, and I was like, how can you have 300 of the world's best riders coming here next week, and this is when you've not like it's the venue, or like how can you allocate so little planning and budget to making the track incredible? That's why at Ludenville, when it rained, it's all fresh soil that hasn't packed in, that got like 4 days earlier, and then it rains, and then it turns to like clunky mud because it's fresh soil that they laid out everywhere. It's got no time to pack in and whatever. Make the tracks better. Like we raced the same track. We go to Val di Sole and race the same track, and then Luneville the same track, Leger same, like lame.
Poland.
One of the best races we've had.
We
such a sick track.
Shat on Poland when you were here last time.
I know.
I did. I was like, it's gonna be.
I know. I felt bad
dog
for that.
shit.
I know. I looked at the Snapchat and I was like, oh, rubbish. It was sick. It was sick. Sick
It was
track.
really exciting. wasn't
Maybe not also because the track was unbelievably sick, but it was fresh. All the berms were fresh. All the lines were fresh. Everyone's like figuring out stuff. So that's why when he says, no, the tracks can't handle. If you have a track with fresh soil, like the first year they do Leger, they just candy taped through a forest. Like it almost, you could argue, come on, Trailbuilders, what have you guys done? Sickest track ever. Because by first practice, this rut's cutting in, that one's blowing out. Then like second practice, all the inside ruts are in, the outside ruts are going to the tape. Like it's carnage and everything's cutting in and it's so much more interesting. The line coaches are going mental. Like that's what makes it interesting. Not for William and Val di Sole. Again, you know, like we are in such a unique sport where you don't need a tar track. Let's do some sick tracks.
Yeah.
Then you can have 200 riders on the track and it just cuts in, you know?
Yeah. So we're jumping forward a little bit, but it says on here.
Gets me hyped, you talking like that.
Yeah.
It just gets me like I don't want to, sorry to interrupt you, but it's just
so true.
It's so good to hear someone actually saying like what they want to race down. Like
Yeah. That's why Hardline is so sick at the moment because you get there and the track is like, and you're like, yes, please. I'll have it, you know what I mean? And like, if there's a berm getting blown out, tap, the boys are up there.
in for that, aren't you?
Like, dude. And then like World Cups is just like the tracks, so you're like, oh, Val di Sole again. Amazing. I'm definitely not going to feel my arms halfway down. Val di Sole this year, there was 3 rivers through the track. Sorry, I have to like, getting off topic now.
No, please.
Like an actual, like, the drainage guy, I don't know, there was just no drainage. And there was just a river through the one section. And you like, so frustrating because you got clear goggles and then one section of the track just like, woof, okay, well now I can't see. So now I need to start, pull off, like surely make drainage. Like the UCI, for how big the organization is and how much they spend on hospitality and this and making this and the broadcast and the... Put just a little bit more budget on the tracks, man. Come on. Like
I hear you.
Yeah, you make a valid point. And one point you did make is that winter's coming. It's going to be muddy. It's going to be shitty out there. And you're going to need a new pair of goggles.
David, I'm so glad you noticed. I'm so glad you noticed because it brings us seamlessly into our advertising break.
Yeah, it does. One that we're doing real.
Right now.
We've got 2 Melon athletes.
Yeah, I suppose I have to get involved on this one.
Dude. Yeah, 2 right. Well, you don't have to because what I've actually brought along props. It's like show and tell.
Oh, lovely.
So this is recorded before I go to Rampage, and I thought I've started packing my bag already. I'm ready, dude. I'm ready with what I've got bringing this year. I'm bringing the heat this year. I've come prepared.
Okay.
First of all, Theo, what are these?
Diablos.
That's right. We got the tinted lens for the desert.
Nice.
I actually run these. I don't get to do a great deal of riding when I'm at Rampage. I get the one day off where these come out. But otherwise, these are actually in the UTV on the way to the event. You would not believe how much dust it kicks up from a UTV. So I've got these packed.
However, Ollie, if I was you and I was in the desert, I would upgrade to a Zeiss lens on those Melon goggles. Just those Zeiss lenses, you know, help with the
And maybe if you didn't want to
viewers.
just have them stealth black, you could just use the Melon website where you can build a custom.
You can fully customize them.
You can see your creativity was
You could use the
thriving when you made those black on black on black on black.
I like them like that.
Yeah,
I like 'em like
obviously
that. But yeah, I agree. I could have gone a bit more crazy. Maybe a different nose
Deaconator
piece,
strap.
something. Yeah, you're right. I should have really repped. Well, Deeks is there to rep that. He does enough of that, doesn't
Hey,
he?
the Iron Maiden one.
Where's your
rad.
custom?
No customs, dude.
No ciggies.
No ciggies. No ciggies.
What has Deeks done that he gets the ciggies?
Mate, he's regional champion all over the country. Right,
Regional cereal box racer champion.
do you know what I'm super excited about this year?
Yes.
The alley cats are just behind you there that I used last year. You can see the rocks that fell. You can see the sweat on the lens.
Nice.
These are really, really must-have.
Polarized lenses.
These are actually just the crazy tints.
Okay.
I could go with a polarized.
Right, I think you
one.
go polarized because
Yeah.
I think it messes with the depth perception if you polarize lenses. So I think those are non-polarized.
That's,
there you
yeah.
go.
Okay. There you go. There you go. These really help as well.
Yep.
Because I really lose stuff.
I'm
quick
glad you've
and
gone
I
for the
get
classic white framed UK boy on tour.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Ibiza,
We're out in the
Greece,
sun.
Sante, all rampage.
Trying to make me look a bit more tanned.
White
They're
sunnies.
good for riding as well, right?
Oh, those are
Absolutely
actually,
fantastic for riding.
Yeah.
Those are the best riding sunnies ever.
Sick.
You choose them over the Kingpins?
Yeah, 100%.
Do you? Yeah.
Yeah,
You just
yeah.
don't like the frame. It's literally personal preference.
Yeah. Those are like glued to your face when you ride. It's sick.
Also, the Jesters now. There's so
Oh,
many
yeah.
options. That's the good thing. Because at first, I was like, there weren't many options, were there? Now we've got everything we
Yes.
need. The
I haven't
Jester
even got
campaign.
Jesters.
No, I haven't. After doing one of the most fierce campaigns I've ever had to do. Literally, we dressed up as Jesters.
Here's an image.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, not my proudest moment, I'll admit, but the glasses are very good. These are what I'm going with this year, okay?
Okay.
Look at this. We got chilled out sexy vibes on the laybacks again with the
Tortoiseshell.
mirrored. Yeah, I think these are really nice.
Yeah, they are
I'm going
nice.
understated this year. Last year I went jet ski. This year I'm going like a country gent
Oh.
in the desert.
Those
An
are really-
aviator, dude.
You can have those on back in a minute. Because those are so good when you're sweaty and whatnot. Like,
You're right, actually, aren't you? Yeah.
And they're good for the desert, man. The UV 400 protected,
That's right.
polarized, shatterproof, and they are built for adventures like Rampage, which is nice to know, isn't it?
that's what I use cruising around Cape Town, to be honest.
Is it? Yeah.
Honestly, I can't get the chicks off the side of the car.
No, you
It's
won't
like-
be able to. You'll be
There's
fighting them.
scratches and there's break-ins.
We also have to mention that Melon is a rider-owned company, and obviously there's loads of people using them, from Rob Warner to the Deaconator, UK national champion, Olly Wilkins, Theo Erlangsen, and many more. If I was getting some, I'd go for some Iron Maidens.
Oh,
Oh,
man,
yeah.
they're
badass,
really
aren't
tricky.
they?
I did actually put in a last minute order, so I'm bringing like a selection out to the desert, so
Oh, yeah.
I can do sort of like fashion shows, you know. But these are,
Yeah.
I thought it was good. The reason I've chosen Rampage is I thought it was a bit of a show and tell.
Yeah, I liked it.
But
I enjoyed that.
Do you know, surprisingly, these straps, not many people run them. Is this?
I've
am
never
I
even
like,
seen those.
Is this like old guy stuff?
I don't know. I've never seen them.
They're nice, dude.
Yeah.
I really lose stuff easy, and I like these. Is it a good look? We've got some more youth in the studio. Good look. Nods all round. We're in. We're good. Thanks, Melon, for sponsoring the show, and obviously myself and Taya.
Yes.
Yes, if you want to grab yourself a pair, head to melonoptics.com, and you can grab them from there with next day shipping all around the UK and the world, which is lovely to know, isn't
They're
it?
fully customizable, dude. Why
Fully
wouldn't you?
customizable is cool. Can't
Honestly.
be playing on a customizer. So yeah, big up Melon. Thank you very much. Back to the episode. All right. Okay, so we were talking about, tracks actually. But
Oh,
we
yeah.
did start talking about teams. So at the moment, after the 2025 season, Warner Brothers Discovery details in its leaked reform document that the top 10 ranked teams may be offered multi-year contracts to secure their spot on the circuit no matter the results they achieve. So the top 10 after 2025 will have the opportunity to secure their spot. What do you think to that? Good or bad?
That seems kind of weird.
It does seem kind of weird. I don't know.
Is that on the document or the pink bike thing?
That is on the document.
That seems kind of weird.
Yeah,
You
that
can have a terrible season, and then like some B team season can have an insane season. Like, oh no, sorry, no place
they're
for you.
locked in.
Yeah,
Mate, it's so true. I guess that is, again, Formula One model, isn't it? Like, we
Yeah.
only have these manufacturers, and that's it.
yeah.
It feels like that. I don't know if that's true in Formula One. You don't see many new teams.
Yes,
Just like
yes, yes.
rebrands of teams rather
Yes,
than actual
literally,
new
you
ones.
just get rebranded teams.
Yeah.
That seems ruthlessly unfair.
Yeah, it does.
Like some team can have like 4 injuries and no results the whole year, and then another team
Yeah.
can be like killing it. But like,
Yeah.
I don't even see how the other. Maybe this is ignorance, but like, I don't see how the other teams are going to actually make it and get those results, because like the B teams aren't going to be allowed there. So there's just going to be a whole bunch of A teams vying over like
Yeah.
I don't know what.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
doesn't really make sense in my eyes.
No, so it says here, so the teams who are not ranked inside the top 15 at the end of that season will have to fight for the final 5 remaining spots. It won't be 5, will it? Maybe it will. but I'm pretty sure it'll be 10 surely if there's 10 guaranteed. Anyway, it's probably me doing terrible maths. Okay, so they will have to fight for those final 5 spots as a World Series team. To be one of the 5 final teams, they will potentially be scored on the following criteria: UCI MTB team ranking current and previous season, profile of individual athletes. Not sure what that means. Sounds a bit strange. Team composition, so whether they're multi-category or multi-gender. Profile of team sponsors, so are they bringing in out-of-industry sponsors? Are they a global team? Media profile, which is the bit that we really seem to be confused about, which is social media, etc. Injury issues during current or previous season, and anti-doping history. So I guess they're the things that they're going to take into account when selecting the final 5 spots. And then it says, any team that has not been granted World Series status with Warner Bros. Discovery and is instead registered with the UCI as an MTB team may be granted a per-event invite to World Cups. This is going back to what we talked about before. Like, they're just going to pick up the phone and say, can you be in Andorra tomorrow?
On this note, I'd like to say, like, this is kind of also, like, off the topic, but, like, no, it's actually on topic. That you can read it, you like trying to get it through in your head, you're like, oh, maybe this and that. I would love to see, I think Chris Ball runs the show. I've actually never even seen Chris Ball. I would love, like, I think most big organizations nowadays, you need the head of the organization to be doing press conferences, standing in front of people, explaining what he's thinking. When you see a UFC event, as soon as it's finished, Dana White sits at the end and he's saying, I think that was a great fight. I thought that was a wrong call. I think that was I would love to see Chris Ball sitting down and making, like, being more of a public figure. Just so you can sit down and be like, okay, guys, I think that is too many teams. I hate that happens. I'd like to slim down on that. You know what I mean? Like, if somebody sat down, and then also you can question him at, like, a press conference or whatever. You'd be like, how about this? I don't think that's a great idea. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'd love for him to be more of a public, or, like, you know, like, do some press conferences and speakers behind in the public. This is coming from a document that doesn't exist, from teams that might not be there next year, on rumors that like, that's not the way to run a big organization. There's so many moving parts and so many people's livelihoods depend on those moving parts. Stand up there and say, okay, guys, I think this is why I think we should do this. Yeah. Like, big organizations nowadays.
Is there ever riders meetings at races? Do you have rider meetings?
Not really. I'm not even on the bloody riders WhatsApp group because I'm not, like, elite team and whatever. But like, so that's like, they try to do some, when it was changing to Warner Brothers, they try to form a bit of a union and stuff, but I don't think it had much success. No. So there's not really, like, team meetings between the riders. The communication in the pits is just like the photographers moaning, I mean, like, going around chatting to everyone, you know?
The negative I see from this, and I don't mean to pile on, but it's like, who are you going to invite? You're eradicating everyone, and then what do you expect them to, like, wait around like a sad ex-girlfriend with mascara down the face? Like, get me off the bench, you know? Like, where are they waiting? Like, what series are they waiting in? Because these are teams that require budget, and even all of these criteria, you know, anti-doping history, like, from what? Yeah. Like, previous season, what? Like, maybe I'm diving in two-footed into something that I should.
No, you're right, because the IXS series right now is, like, it's there, but it doesn't. Like, it's not.
It's a big step disjointed.
Yeah, it's a massive step lower. Yeah. Like, I don't even. Okay, maybe this is, like, I should, but, like, I don't even really go to IXS races because, like, there's no Sven there, there's no Sleeper there, there's no this there. That brings me to another point I want to make. Like,
please.
They say, no, we need to trim down the World Cups to make the feeder series, and then we're going to grow the feeder series, this and that. In all sports where the feeder series is there, it's at the same location. Okay, F1, F3, F2, MotoGP 1, 2, 3, MX1, MX2, like, you can't have the feeder series that's happening in Ilmenau and then the next weekend the World Cup's in, like, Switzerland, because Sven and Sleeper and all of those guys aren't going to go to the feeder series because Valley and Greg and what's the name aren't all there. You know what I mean? Like, you need to kind of have the feeder series and the A series in the same location so that can have, like, a trickle down media effect. if that makes sense. Like if you got an IXS, you can
especially if
barely,
they're leaning on that. We want social media stuff,
like,
basically.
Yeah.
But
so like they want the
what?
teams to grow from there and stuff like that. But I think the growth is very limited because Shram, Fox, Commons, all those team managers and everything, it's already busy enough in a summer if you have 9 World Cups. You're not going to be like, oh, do you know what I should do on my weekend off? Let's go to like Croatia for the IXS Cup. You know what I mean? Like in my eyes, I think if you're going to have a feeders, it is good to have that elite thing, whatever, and build a feeder series. But in my eyes, you should have it, even if it's on a separate track at the same venue or something like that. Like Sven's not going to travel to Ilmenau to go shoot me at a German IXS Cup. Not happening. So you know what I mean? So like, I don't think that series will flourish.
Well, for them, you go to events where the teams aren't as big, so there's less budget. There's less money there. So what's he going for?
Yes.
What are those people going for? Like, it makes no sense.
To dive
I
in
love
again.
that, sorry.
Yeah.
Be at the same event.
Like,
Why not be there and the races before? That is the, whatever we call it.
The prelude race or something like that.
Whatever it's called.
Yeah.
DH1 Sunday, DH2
Well, you could say,
Saturday.
okay, there's uncapped budget for the big teams, and then if you're a feeder team, you've got to cap your budget at a certain amount or whatever, and then you can race like the B series or something like that. Like, and then he also, what's the name? Rurid Cunningham also told me, no, the tracks get so messed up. Da, da, da. If you go look at a MXGP, dude, I actually watched one of those this year, and I thought, whoa, those tracks get so rough. I thought they prepped them on Friday and then let them get rough. They are furiously prepping the track throughout the weekend. The tracks just get beaten up because there's so many riders, but between each moto, there's a guy in a skid steer, cleaning the ruts. Like, they pretty much clean all the savage bits of the track before the next moto and stuff like that. Instead of having 2 people doing track maintenance,
with one spade.
with one spade, have 20. You know, like let's
it's
like
man-made sport,
literally and it's not like you don't need to retar the chicane like a MotoGP track. You need 5 blokes and some spades. You can repack a berm fairly well in an hour. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, it's fair, dude.
I think they should put a lot more effort into the tracks, and then the tracks won't degrade so quickly, and then you can have more riders and this and that. You know what I mean?
What track would you say this season degraded the worst, if you had an example? Because it seems to me, looking at it from the outside, a lot of it is bike parky, quite hard pack.
Yes.
So which track would you say suffered from a lot of degradation?
They all get slayed, eh? They all that's why World Cup racing is hard, because like it's not as though people are always like, oh, can you ride the track? Like, you can ride the track. Like, it's just how you adapt to like the track getting slayed, how you choose your lines on the day before, and like how you adapt to changing conditions. It's so gnarly nowadays. You can do dry practice and then wet qualifying and then dry practice, wet race. Like, you've just got to like get out there on the gate and be like, okay, no, I'm just riding this track for the first time in the wet.
Yeah. When I watch Phil Atwell on Plenty Steeps, I'm like, how can you? This is the closest thing I've got to a changing track. Plenty Steeps are like tear-offs, right?
Yeah.
So like, you'll go down it once and you'll be like, oh, well, I am literally so good at biking. I'm blowing up turns. I'm the man. I'm in free fall, like just catching the turn before a tree. You go down the next run, 3 of the turns have completely disappeared. So when I watch like Phil, I'm like, how can you do that? Like, literally, how can that be?
Savage bike skill. That's how he does it.
Yeah, hey, I can't remember how that linked to World Cups, but I mean, it does change so much, doesn't it?
Val di Sole.
Yeah.
Like, that started off slayed. It always starts off the weekend slayed, and it somehow gets worse and worse throughout the weekend. It's just like, we ride the same track for the last 15 years, and it's just like the most relentlessly rough thing you can imagine.
Yeah.
All right. So with a moto track, they literally they're kind of grading it, so it's like the lines can open up. And part of downhill World Cup racing is that new lines open up, so that requires a turn to get blown out and stuff. Like, what do you think about, like, if you did send someone up a track, what's the ideal scenario, dude?
So even if you look at a track, if you like last year's Ludenville track, because they link between bike park turns on grass and stuff like that, you can literally see, because it's a World Cup and everyone races within a mil of the post, the line for the track or the corner will be right up against the post.
Right.
So then, do you know what? If you're going to do it next year, either like, move the post like here or there, like even in the grass sections between, there's so many, if you just add one chicane in post, you can move the whole, like like it's fresh track. It's not as though like the whole track is murdered from 10 meters wide. It's those 2-3 inside or outside lines or whatever. Move the track of like a few meters over, and you've got fresh grass, fresh corners. Like even the way you enter bike park corner can be fresher, this or that. So like it's really hard to fix old 300 braking bumps from the last year. But if you just move the track 5 meters over to the right, you've got fresh grass and a full new track, and those lines will develop and cut in completely different to the previous year. So it's literally moving some poles and changing the way, like instead of going berm, exit, berm, like go berm, chicane, exit, berm, it's like, it's actually really not rocket science.
Hard,
Like, obviously somebody will tune me, no, there's nature regulations and we only allowed that one track and this and that. But like, you can, there's surely things can be done. Even if you sign with a venue and say, we're going to have a track, we're going to have a race here for 3 years and we need 10 meters width in those 3 years. You might use 3 meters that year, 3 meters that year, 3 meters that year. But like, let's make a plan to have fresher tracks.
Yeah.
The tracks are so lame now. And I think the racing will be so much sicker if there's better tracks.
Thank God for Amory this year, because I feel like the racing has been okay. It's been pretty good.
That's why actually New Zealand Matt Walker made a point to me early in the year, and it stuck so hard. He was like, the effort that they put into the promotion and whatever of the races is not anything special. Like, I think the third party media of Pink Bike, Vital, Sleeper, these like Misspent Summers, those kind of people, they create so much hype around the racing.
100%.
Yeah, you're right.
The WMD don't do a WMD. They don't do. They really, in my eyes, they don't do like a massively significant job in terms of promoting the races and like building the hype and whatnot. No, they are so fortunate that the racing that comes out of the event and the race runs is ludicrous, that they tape the lame track. It is like, like then nothing like the commentaries there, like everything kind of mid, and then Amory comes down and busts out like 6 seconds in the pissing rain, and it's like incredible, and everyone's like, what a race, like what a race.
People
and they
then have to go and watch it.
Yes, they're so fortunate that the riders make the race so fucking insane.
The story's there.
Like it happens, but like they haven't really done that much. So actually Kiwi Matt Walker was like, he's just, the races and the riders, they're the ones that are making these stories and these incredible things. Like Amory this year doing insane stuff.
But that is the product. That's what they're selling.
Yeah.
All this revolves around those riders, you guys, going down that track, and all of your efforts around that, promoting it, doing this and that. So the fact that this stuff gets leaked and that teams are having secret meetings or whatever, elite teams or whatever are having secret meetings, and the riders aren't being talked to, is just backwards. It's so like, backwards. If you guys aren't happy, it's all fucked. All of it's fucked. Because if there's no riders going, and that kind of brings me on to, so there's a rumour that the XC guys, athletes, are going to do a boycott. Apparently. What's the word?
Strike? I don't know.
No. Allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah, there you go.
Allegedly.
You win in that
because
iteration.
Yeah, this doesn't affect, we're only talking about downhill right now, but it does affect enduro and it affects XC. Apparently the XC side of it is like also not stoked, and that there's potentially some sort of boycott, some sort of protest or something like that. So that kind of, I don't really know where I'm going with it, but the power is in the rider's hands.
It makes sense. With what do they say? With no clowns, there's no circus.
Totally.
And literally. And I'm surprised, like, let's say a rider like Amory, obviously he's winning everything, he's in a stable position, and brand loves him, team loves him, whatever. But both of his brothers are on B teams, which is, I think, Anton Piron is on Union.
Yeah,
other Piron is on, I think, Comsel Schwalbe.
Yes.
And both of those teams are getting schmied out of next year's racing because of these new changes and the only UCI teams. And I'm like, kind of, like interested to see if, like, let's say if I stand up and go, I don't think it's right, Chris Paul's like, cool pal. cool story, go do backyard battle. Whereas like if Amory stands up and he's like, hey guys, I don't think that these changes are actually necessary, and it literally takes 3-4 of the top boys to say, I don't think that this is the right thing to do, which is also like hard for like, I don't expect those guys to stand up and like stand up for the small guys, but like, I think it would
You're
take,
right, though.
it
He's
would
got to stand
take,
up for his family.
yeah, actually for his brothers.
It
That's
might be
why I said Henry,
commensal
because
Piron
he's actually
racing
got the
next
most,
year.
the most vested interest in like,
Yeah, it's
in
true.
the topic. And he could so easily be like, guys, this is not the way to do it. Even like last year when he broke his neck in the B zone, he was like, oh, I see lots of money going into the sport and lots of this going into the sport, but no more prize money, no more safety, no more nothing. Like, where's all this money going, guys? You know, so like he has stood up in the past before a little bit. So it'd be interesting to see if he was like, guys, you can't kick out half of the teams. And it's not as though the B teams are like some crummy team with a gazebo and a weird, like they're sick teams. It's like Danny Hart and those teams, like Austin Dooley, people that like top 10 and top 20 races all the time. Like,
it is interesting, actually. I haven't heard much publicly spoken about it yet.
because nothing's happened.
Because
Because nothing's happened.
So whenever this date that it publicly happens, then we'll see.
I really am, a small part of me knows that it's not going to happen, but I really am hoping that they, like, I'm hoping that, well, I think it will happen. You know what I mean? I think.
What, you think these changes will go for it?
Because I said to those guys, surely they can't make this change for next year. It's too soon. They can't give everyone enough time. Like, they can't do that much of a drastic change. And then somebody was like, Chris Ball doesn't give a fuck about you, man. He's gonna slay you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then a small part of me is like, maybe they haven't announced it because they are gonna save it for 2026 or something like that. So like a small part of me is like, no, maybe they'll save it for another year or something like that. And then in the most of my logic thinking brain's like, nah, Paul.
I guess the sort of positive is that there's a race to go in in MSA.
Yeah.
So if all this stuff is true and maybe some more information comes out as of when we're recording this, there's an opportunity there for riders to be like, no,
Yes.
I'd love to see it. I don't know, maybe because I'm just a bit of a renegade sometimes,
Yes,
and I just want
yes.
them, I just want riders like to stand up for the sport that we all love,
Yes.
and not watch it just get fucked in the ass.
Yeah. I thought I wasn't allowed to swear on this podcast.
It's true though. It's like it's changed so much.
So much.
I'm
And
gonna,
I'm not sure
using
if-
myself as an example and having a platform and doing the podcast, doing all this. I've just been uninvested for 2 years,
So I also,
and we
I
shouldn't
think-
be. We should be stoked for it.
Yeah.
Like, I speak to like Deeks and Joel at the beginning of the year, and I was like, "Oh, did you guys watch the World Cup?" They're like, "No," and I'm like, "Dude, you are like sponsored riders within the industry
Yeah.
who like X race, and like all of your mates are like races and stuff like that. They don't watch." I think the core audience has taken a massive hit, but I think Warner Brothers still claims that they've got more viewership because they're on HBO and Eurosport. So I think the general numbers are up to the 45, I mean, like, I don't know, 60-year-old granny sitting watching on Eurosport. But I think the core audience of people who are like pink bike, like on like, you know, like interested in the sport, I think that audience is gone. And I think, and now Chris Ball might kill me, but like, I think it is really hard to watch. Like, I've had my mate Ike in Cape Town being like, dude, I've got a laptop open, my iPad open, my phone open. I cannot with any, like, I can't with all the money watch this. Like, I can't figure out how to actually turn this on. Like, he can't, like, he literally, like, he can't watch it. So I think they just watch it off of like an illegal VPN thing.
VPN,
like,
yeah.
And it's like, you kind of need to make it a little bit easier, just like, make it easier for people to watch, you know? Like,
Yeah.
like even
100%, dude.
my parents used to watch all the World Cups and stuff like that. Now they just sit on like Tissot live timing, like watching the live timing. Like, how lame is that?
I think you make a good point as well, because like TV stuff is all based on potential viewership, isn't it?
Yes.
It's like they've done that for years. And
Yes.
that's why
They
advertising
have a huge platform. Discovery Plus, we cannot argue it's a huge platform that it's going on in the UK. Discovery
Yeah,
Plus.
but like the numbers they use are potential, aren't they?
Yes,
Yeah.
but if we use our friendship groups and the people, like you said, that are involved in the sport, that are fans of the sport, it's down. It has to be down.
Even if you
because
open up like pink bike comments, people are just
it's not good, is it?
into
It isn't good. Like, it's not. It's not good.
every
I
time
don't
you
know,
open a
man.
pink bike thing about something, it's just like bring back TV, bring back.
It's wild out there, isn't it? It's so yeah, I don't know, man. I guess this is the point. It's like something has to be done, but what needs to be done and how does it get done? From the conversations I've had with other riders as well, it's like there needs to be some sort of boycott, something. I mean, look what happened at Crankworks. I'm not saying that was good or bad, but
I
it
think that
forced
was good,
change.
mate.
It forced change,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like it opened up conversation. So
Dude, even like, if you see how much, like, obviously Warner Brothers is making cash and all of their deals of like Whoop and this and that, the prize money is still like €2,500 for an elite World Cup win. If you told a golfer or a MotoGP rider, like, I'm the best in the world, I won this race that I for sure could have broken my back at like 10 different occasions on the track, and I won €2,500, they would laugh in your face.
Yeah.
They would literally be like, you are kidding. You're the best in the world. You won $2,500. Even look at, like, go talk to the motocross boys. They'd be like, are you joking, dude?
Yeah.
Like,
Not hanging the check on the wall, are you? You're not hanging the check on the wall.
I don't think they even give them big checks on the podium.
It's embarrassing. Yeah.
It's a little envelope you pick up from the lift office, literally.
Who was it that posted about that the other day that they'd not been paid? I can't remember. Anyway, I can't remember. Someone had put like the actual phone number on his Instagram. Like, I can't remember who it was. It might have been Ronan.
Wild,
Anyway,
eh?
yeah, it was like the envelope with the phone number. Like, whose is this number? I've not been paid.
So before they go public with actually what the changes are, again, the aims are to elevate the World Cup, create a pathway, multi-year commitment to teams, team focus, clear rules, build rider identities and promotion.
But I don't think the way to elevate those things is by kicking out half the squad.
I agree, but it's interesting to go through it all, refresh on what we started
No,
with, and be like,
It refreshed some anger in my brain.
But it's true though, isn't it? Because like, all right, if these are your objectives, that's great. That is great. So we're trying, but maybe there are some places where they need to be adjusted and to fulfill these objectives.
Yes, I don't think the changes that they are making are going to naturally make that better. You know what I mean? Get more media around the pits. Do this, do that. You can go to the producers that do like Netflix shows and be like, all right, we are Warner Brothers. We'd like, your buddy in America there. We need a couple bar euros to get these producers in. We've got Drive to Survive downhill. Take you don't need to kick out half the teams and make it more elitist and this and that. Like, there's so many other ways you can go around those objectives.
Yeah.
So true. We put up a listener question thing, and I'm not saying that the questions are bad, but they're pretty much all the same of like what we've just spoke about. I think everyone out there, like we're saying about comment sections on various websites, all the same stuff. People have the same opinions. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. I'm not watching it. I can't, it's all the same thing. Which is interesting because
like
that's a great use case.
If you want all of those things, make it easier to watch the actual
There
live.
you go. Yeah, there you go.
Simple hack.
I honestly think that
Do
was a
you
good overview.
Do you guys watch the World Cups?
Yes.
Not because you're on a podcast now. Like, do you tune in and watch the World Cups?
No. I actually do. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I actually do.
You did a watch show now, this and that.
World champs.
We tried.
Yes.
We did watch
I'm actually bleak. I'm flying home today because I would have loved to have watched Mons and Ann next to you guys. I would have had some good insights.
Well, I was just going to say, this whole podcast, I think, has actually been really good and useful. Definitely for me, but really just to have your insight is super valuable. And I appreciate you, probably feel like I've thrown you under the bus a bit here, like asking you.
That's fine.
But it's honestly so helpful, and you've done such a cracking job. And hopefully you set a bit of a example that maybe other people can just say what they actually think and
This stuff's important, I think.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
And also-
And I said that to my friend today. It's like I feel like some sort of responsibility in a way for the sport because we have a platform to talk about this stuff. It's a pretty big platform. So it's like, if we can just have open discussion, and ultimately change comes from communication and discussion, and people listening and thinking, actually, no, they had a point or they had a point or whatever. So this stuff is super interesting. So you've spoke for a lot of riders as well.
absolutely.
Not just,
so many riders in the pits were like, "Oh, we're gonna do that." I was like, "Well, we'll try. We'll try."
But the outcome from this podcast, if you and I had done it and gone through that list, you can only go so far. You need people like yourself
on
to actually
ground.
say what. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So good on you.
Yeah. Good
Also,
on you.
I wanted to, if Chris Ball's listening to this and get so angry or something, I probably won't race
hang
for
on.
next year.
Open invite for Chris Ball. Anyone. We've reached out before. Anyone from that organisation, you are welcome to come on this podcast.
Yeah,
we would love to talk to you.
If you are angry about what I'm
Please.
saying, and if I've got things wrong, you're like, no, you shouldn't have said that. We're not going to do that, or this is talk about it.
Yeah.
Sit down on a platform, talk about it. Obviously, I'm giving probably the wrong information because I have no information. I'm not even on it goes A teams, B teams, like kind of see teams, privateers tearing his van. Like I'm on the bottom of the like the feeding pile when it comes to information. But obviously I know like, you know, so like be clear about the information, be clear about your intentions. Come like talk like if you are angry and upset, Mr. Chris Ball, come sit down here and chat to these hoes.
The Dana White thing, the Dana White example is very good.
Yeah, even most big CEOs nowadays of like big companies, they now know that they have to sit down and like talk about stuff and like be a public figure.
Dude, taking gloves off and getting men and women to punch each other in the face was not a popular sport until Dana White. Yeah. Like it's what it requires. You could,
press conferences are new, I guess. Was that just this year they introduced the press conferences?
I think they did some last year, but I can't quite.
Are you allowed to go to those, or is it press only?
I don't even
As an
know.
athlete, sit there, ask the questions.
Bro, I'm not even on the WhatsApp group that sends the times of the qualies and stuff. I have to ask my mate. I'm always like, what time's the quali? I'm like, Rory, send me
trying to bum Wi-Fi.
But like, I don't actually know how it works. But even let's have some like some sick questions at the press conferences and like market it well and you know like.
Yeah, it's true, man. It's important. Like. For the future of the sport that we all love. I think certainly for me, it's just sad to see it change so much. The thing that I just used to fucking froth over watching is just like, so different.
It seems harsh saying they're killing it, but like year on year, I think they have slightly killed it. Like last year's semis were lame, this year's semis were lame, like not broadcasting this. Yeah. Like, it's like from having Rob Warner just like going wild on the TV to some insane runs, and then now it's like really, I can't comment that heavily on the broadcast because usually I'm physically at the event watching the live show. Yeah. But every now and again I watch the broadcast or something like that, and like it's. I wouldn't say they've revolutionized it. You know what I mean? It's not as though I'm like, wow, this is incredible. I kind of feel the same way. On a note, I promise nobody's whoop is 150 beats per minute. Ronan's had 6 Red Bulls. His heart rate is 220. I see another whoop thing of somebody doing 140. He's like zone 2 at the bottom of Val de Sol. No, dude. No, he is not, dude. Honestly,
he's had 6 Red Bulls.
He's in the gate at 210. Like, literally, like
his pupils are dilated. He's not 220.
Oh, one shadow. Literally, he's barking in the gate at the timing assistant. He is starting the run at 210. He's not at zone 2 at the bottom of Val de Sol.
Oh, that really got me.
What else has been going on in life, dude? The male monster girl.
Yeah.
Another good trip?
Another good trip. Hopefully the fans have tuned in, but...
you got a whoop on at that?
I guess
not your wrist. Unless you call it that.
I could do it. So yes, I recently did go to Ibiza with the Monster Girls to promote a new partnership with Monster Energy and Pasha. So just I can put that on the record. And
Pasha's a club, yeah?
Yeah, big, huge nightclub with hotels and like clothing places and everything. And I was actually meant to fly home last Monday, and then they phoned me and said, "Do you want to come to Pasha with to Ibiza with the Monster Girls to promote something else?"
What did you say?
I said, "I'll change my flight.
I'll walk home. I don't give a fuck."
And it was absolutely, arguably the best 3 days I've had in my life. I love to see think a standout moment was they rented a yacht for the day, and as I'm boarding the yacht, there's a guy with an actual Lamborghini yacht, like a Conor McGregor Lamborghini yacht, moored up next to our boat. Yeah. And I walk on with like this bloody silk get up and like 10 chicks around, and the guy's working on his on his laptop on his Lamborghini yacht, looks over at me like, "Who is this guy?" I was like, like, I could see him like, what the hell is this guy? How has he done? I'm like literally staying in a transit van the weeks before.
Transit keys.
Like, maximum £1,000 in the Monzo. Like literally, like I could just see, and I was obviously didn't inform him that I wasn't quite the man I was pretending to be. But for that day, I was like Conor McGregor. So, but it was just funny to see like the perceptions of people. Like I was literally for like weeks before that showering in the river in Morzine and staying in my transit van. And then for a day I was Conor McGregor. It was incredible. So yeah, we're there for some ruthless promotion. Wouldn't have been an expensive promotion, but it was an enjoyable promotion. Holy shucks. Good. And my manners are always on point, and I'm always polite, well behaved. So hopefully Monster camp comes again.
Actually, I'm trying to. Did you send them off all of the audience
I
insights?
actually, for the first time, this time did, because I was like, they are ruthless. You could honestly. You could swear I don't race World Cups or race bikes. Like when I do a trip like that, the Instagram just goes to another league of interest. Good. And like, it's just crazy insights. And actually this time I like screenshotted and sent to the social lady. I was like, fucking take note of this. I want to come again.
It's working.
It's working.
That's so good. I think as well, last time you came here, we were going to, straight after you went to...
Poland or Transmadeira or something.
Transmadeira.
Oh, that was it. Yeah,
and you were dreading it a little bit.
I didn't even know what I was in for, to be honest.
Dude, you're a force of positivity, but you harnessed the negativity for a bit. Yeah. After our last meet, you harnessed the negativity, didn't you?
I vaguely remember someone filming you, and you were just like, "This is fucking shit." It's carrying your bike.
Honestly, Ryan Franklin, my boss, sold it to me. He was like, dude, come to Madeira. We've got time. Like, you can see Madeira Island, bit of trail riding. And I'd never been to Madeira. I was like, dude, I'd be so keen to go check out Madeira. I didn't realize that it was like an event, like a type 2 fun, like you like finisher. You know what I mean? I did not know. I thought we were going for like chill trail bike laps. They were like, no, you shuttle half of the day. Like it's, it was tough, bro. It was... Even at that point, the organizer was like, Theo, we kind of invited you here to promote the event, dude. You can't be rude. But at the time, I was like, this is crap. And honestly, the whole time, it was so tough. I should have had a smaller chain ring because I was basically pushing up everything.
Right.
And honestly, I was moaning the whole time so hard. And at the end... we like all having finishing beers, and then I met this guy and he was like 60 and he'd done it. And I was like, shit, you're a whiny little moaner, like literally 60-year-old valley, like not a professional mountain biker and whatnot. And he was like, yeah, I loved it. Whoa. I was like, oh, you are really just a moaner.
So you're just not type 2 guy.
No, it was fun. And like,
did you get to the end and you felt like...
Yeah, obviously at the end. But like, there was just moments in that day when you're just like, what? Like that day when we did that, when I was moaning like that.
It's brutal.
Man, it's like, we just hiked 1,000 meters in like 5 kilometers and with a bike on your back. And I thought we were going to like this Narnia land that nobody could drive to. And there was going to be this Narnia trail down. And we did this whole ride across this whole valley. And then we got to another tar road. And I was like... there's a transit van just like mine parked right there, and I was like, what? Like, we could have just shuttled here. They were like, no, the trail after this is the best trail ever, and I was like, not in this mood. Literally. But you know, it was actually, if I had done it without Wolfie and Sea Dog and like a couple other guys, like, oh man, if I'd done it solo, I would have pulled out. A lot of times actually I was like on like day 4, I'm like, I'm doing hardline next week. Why am I wasting my time here? I'm going to go book golf tomorrow. And I didn't have like signal on my phone. I was like, as soon as I get signal, I'm going to book golf up because I'm not doing this race. And then eventually I just like, I don't know, didn't organize it, finished it by, and I was like, oh, fuck, it's really sick actually. And it is a vibe. You like in the trenches with the boys, you know what I mean?
Challenge,
like, I must have seen Sea Dog take so many boss cucks. It was like incredible, even Wolfie as well. And like, it was hell of it is so fun. It is so fun. The trails are sick, but like at points you're like, whoa, this is brutal.
That was great. What other events have you been up to? You do Backyard Jam at...
Backyard battles now.
At Velo's
Nice.
place. Backyard Battle, sorry.
They
At
are
Velo's place.
nice.
I'm so hyped that series now kind of is in existence. Because I used to have to go to like sponsors and be like, okay, I'm going to do the World Cups and then maybe some free ride stuff, you know, like maybe if it's like a nice bonus on top, whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's like, okay, we're going to have 4 or 5 well-organized, sick, like free ride events where the jumps are going to be mint, everything's being organized, you're going to have Sega and videographers and drone, like it's going to be mint. So like, And like, oh my gosh, if you go from the vibe of like a World Cup where it's like, well, there's a monsoon right now, but practice starts in 10 minutes. Don't be late for the gondola. It's like, oh, okay, roll-offs, tear-offs, mud goggles. Whereas backyard battle, like, you like literally be raining the night before, and then like Paul would be like, hey guys, bit of rain, man. We take it easy tomorrow morning. Maybe we meet up at lunchtime, afternoon session. You're like, yes, guys, yes. Like,
every dream I can imagine.
And it's like everyone.
So how many have you done?
You
do Vero's one?
Vero's one. Was
I
I here before that?
No.
My gosh, those are sick jumps.
It's unbelievable.
Holy, Hodgie and
garden.
Vero, like, I've got an insane setup now. Some of the best jumps I've ever ridden in my life. Like the speed, the timing, the options, the everything. Like it is impeccable what they've done. The drainage around the place, like, I don't know. I mean, I'd say I don't know how Hodgie and Oscar sat in a digger loader for like 2 months straight. That's how they did it. But like the timing and all the jumps and everything, that was the first stop. And I think everyone of the other boys who had their stops after that, they were like, oh shit, okay, we need to like step up our game, add some more jumps, whatever. But like that was so sick. The vibes, like everyone's like kind of chilling. You know, you can ride when you want. Like it's like, oh man, those backyard battles are good now.
Yeah.
Vera and Hodgie's one was sick. I think Sea Dog's one was after that, but it was like the week before Leger, and I really needed to train, so I couldn't go to that one.
Okay.
But those jumps also look sick, and I would kill to go to Unterstinkenbrunn. Like, it seems like the weirdest, coolest place ever.
What a name, eh?
Unterstinkenbrunn.
Where is it?
Unterstinkenbrunn.
It means under the stinky well. Somehow, but I think it's quite a cool city. Sea Dog lives there, so
it's got to be cool.
But his jumps was like sick, and then Paul Dirk's one, his jumps were really sick. Like, some of the boys were going huge there and stuff like that.
Did they get knocked down afterwards?
No. I think they stayed.
Okay, cool. I think I'm thinking about the last one, maybe.
And is the vibe that it's like compounds, as in like
it's like Adolf's back garden, Paul Dirk's back garden, Hodgie's back garden, German dirt jump guy. Super Steezy, Sleeper, his back garden. Lucas Schaefer. Like, all of those, it's like your backyard battle, monster guys in their back garden.
Lucas Schaefer, honestly, that one looked like it couldn't have been more exactly what I want to ride. An event that I want to go to, and like the vibe and the people that were there, it's all just chillers and it's not too much.
Dude, everyone's just hyping each other.
Oh, it looked great, that did. I don't get that often, honestly.
Really, yeah.
And there's a gathering of people.
It's so amazing to go from like World Cup racing to those events and do them like sometimes back to back simultaneously, because World Cup's just like ruthlessly competitive. Everyone's like up in each other. It's like in the zone teams, and then that one, like everyone, like Hodgie and them, everyone's like at the end, like in the hot tubs, chilling, drinking beers, chatting, like. Oh man, they can take away the World Cup. Backyard battle.
Backyard battle's quite something. Who's it was Ryan.
Yeah.
Right?
Ryan's pretty
We
much
should
organized.
shout out Ryan, shouldn't we? It's probably a painful shout out for you.
No. No, we should shout out Ryan. I think he's going to a lot of effort this year to make those things happen.
Big up Ryan, frankly, because that is a killer series, and
I
from
think
nothing,
it
his brain.
better and better and better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I think this last year there was like 1 or 2. This year there was been like 5, and then I think even next year he wants to go maybe to like Tom van Steenberg in Canada, and maybe like into America and shit. So like, and like the free ride scene has got some events here and there, but they like, here, maybe there, like it's not that often, whereas that's like you can see Edgar Barriol just do some filthy things on a bike.
Do you know what? He's got a hard enough job anyway, managing all of these different riders, and then to actually successfully come up with an idea that brings everyone together that they want to go.
Yes.
They want to go. That is really hard. So
especially because, like, let's say all of those Crankworks guys, they I mean, he was saying, who was it? Even Tommy G was like, Ryan, I love these events so much. I don't know if I can say that because he's Red Bull. He was like, a lot of those Crankworks guys like love the vibe because it's like Ryan's like, we've got some jumps. We're gonna feed you and house you for the week. If you want to ride, you can ride. If you want to drink beers and get blackout, do that. You know what I mean? It's like no pressure, but obviously as soon as something like you get to these sick jumps, everyone's gonna ride. You know what I mean? So like the vibe is like unbeatable.
That's cool, man.
It's hard to recreate when you really want to ride.
Yeah.
That's what's very impressive, I think, about racers, about people that compete in contests. it's if you love biking and you love doing these crazy things, it's harder sometimes to do it in the like the struggle is the helicopters, the loudspeakers, the time that you got to be there, all of that shit, and like he's actually successfully made something that people actually want to go to, which is so hard.
And it's also sick because at each different location there'll be like one or two, let's say, locals who like help dig or whatever. Like, I mean, obviously Wales, like there was like some kids there that I'd never seen on a bike before, and then like they like local to the spot kind of thing, and then they ride the back of battle, and you're like, dude, that kid is sick. Like,
they bring the hype as well.
Yeah, and you're like, whoa, who's this kid? You know, so it's like there's like, no, pick up Ryan.
Well done, Uncle Ryan.
Yes.
Yeah, Uncle Ryan.
So what's the plan now? Heading home today? Are you going home?
Yeah, heading home.
Yeah. Okay.
Also, like it's
Rest of the year, what you got going on?
I'm not sure. Maybe some few possibilities. Maybe like a little urban race that's on the cards. Maybe I'd love to actually. I'm gonna try go watch Rampage for Monster. I'd love to. The Monster Social Lady was like, I need to go there and film stuff, and I was like, well, you
Undercover.
can send me. But it's home time. Now I've been on the road for like, because also like not like I just race World Cups, but like my season starts in like January, where I do like. From January 2nd or 3rd this year, Sam gets to Stellenbosch. We start Darkfest build, Darkfest. Straight after that, I flew to Hardline, did Hardline Tassie, then Queenstown, then back, then straight to Europe. I've been in Europe for like 4 months now. Yeah. I'm like, I've like slept in my own bed for like 2 weeks this year. You know what I mean? So it's like, now I'm keen to get home
for a bit then. Yeah.
Spring in Cape Town, get the golf swing going.
Nice,
maybe
dude.
some surfing, lots of kite surfing.
Nice.
Maybe 1 or 2 beers. A couple of waters. Maybe a
Sick,
rave.
dude. Sick.
So-
and then you start planning like for next year. Is that normally what you do? And then
Yeah, pretty much. I'll start.
not that you
Waiting
can
on
plan
some
anything.
information.
Just waiting. Waiting on some information to see if I have next year. No, I'm joking.
Just at the golf course waiting for your pager to go off. Information about next year, my job.
So yeah, I'll pretty much when I get back, I'm actually, I say I'm going to have a couple of beers, but I'll try actually trim down the dad bod, get in shape, and then
Try and lift more than Ollie.
yeah, literally. I have to now. And then I'm sure by January it's going to be kicking off again, because then it's like Hardline Feb, then it's like Darkfest just after that, then it's going to be like I really this year I did too much,
long
honestly.
season.
I by mistake did too much. I tried to do all the hard lines, all the backyard battles, all the World Cups, like stupid enduros, but like fun enduros. Like if there was a weekend off, I was like, well, I'll do that event, you know, let me drive the transit there, do the event. And I was like, by like, I don't know, mid-July, I was like, I'm blown out.
Dude, can I just wanted to say, you're currently in the hot seat. He's in the hot seat, right?
There.
Guest of the year 2024. Currently, you're in the hot seat. We've previously talked about this.
We have.
You're in the hot seat. We've still got a bit of a year to go, but
Yeah.
you're guest of the year at the moment.
It's a
dude.
pretty big
Oh,
crown
really?
to have. Yeah.
Coveted title.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah,
How
you
did
get
that
like
happen?
cool shit.
Yeah.
At least I will have won something this year. Be nicer than 75th. At least if I come third best guest of the year, it'll be a podium. You know?
Yeah. We might even do top 5.
Yeah.
I can't believe that. I really do.
Yeah,
Mate, we
bruh.
could. Do you know? I always get so nervous before doing these because it's like so easy for somebody to listen and just be like, "That guy's a prick." And I hate that
tell me
somebody
about
can
it.
do that.
It's what it is, man.
But I swear on my life, like we could probably sit down like twice a week and just chat about it with you, like just bikes. Like
Life.
I could do 5 more hours. Change
yeah,
these
dude.
waters for beers. We do 5 more hours of chatting about bikes, and you can't stop talking about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously, it's because we're passionate about it. And we don't see a lot of girls.
You do.
No,
We don't see any. Holy shit, dude. There's no 10s around here. No.
That was absolutely fantastic,
Yeah,
Theo.
man.
Big thanks. Big thanks.
Yeah, big thank you. For
Good
doing
having you
the podcast
around,
again.
dude.
It's always
No,
fun.
thank you,
Always fun. Yeah, that's it, I think, isn't it?
That's it.
Yeah.
Peace and love. Thanks for listening.
Like and subscribe. Mate, what an episode.
Brilliant. I thought you were really great, Davey.
Mate, and I thought you were even better.
Thanks, dude.
Better
Thanks,
than
dude.
normal.
Oh, cheers.
Hey, how about we tell our lovely podcast community to hit subscribe here.
Yeah,
Click on the video on Ollie's face.
that's right.
Click on the video on my face.
Yeah.
And follow us at The Ride Companion on Instagram.
They can like and comment as well.
Please do.
I'm going to try and get this energy and I'm going to bring it into next week.
Let's fast forward to next week's episode.
Done.